Meredith. Luna gazed at Ethan, her eyes filled with a mix of anger and sorrow.
Luna.
His gaze, as always, was icy, with just a hint of guilt.
Ethan!
She clenched her fists, feeling a surge of anger.
What am I to you, Ethan?
The celestial friends fell into a deathly silence, whispering among themselves.
You must be Luna, the Saintess. From now on, I will be your sister-in-law.
Luna found it amusing, avoiding the fish spirit's touch. Her enchanted robe's protective aura burned the spirit's fingers, leaving scars.
Luna, you shouldn't have hurt her. She is my benefactor.
What kind of debt requires you to repay with marriage?
He severed his spiritual roots to save me, sacrificing his path to becoming a god.
What saved Ethan, the warrior god?
Of course, it was the divine water seal from my clan.
Luna smiled bitterly, lifting a strand of hair. I now understand patience better than the stone monkey trapped under the mountain for 5,000 years.
Meredith, do you know of a treasure in the East Sea used by the Great U during his flood control efforts, called the Sea Stabilizing Needle?
Of course I know. It's a treasure of the aquatic tribes. Though the Dragon King couldn't wield it, he always guarded it until a monkey took it. That monkey was truly detestable.
If the Dragon King couldn't wield it, how did it become his?
If we talk about the rightful owner of the Sea Stabilizing Needle, it should be the Great U, who used it to control the floods. How did it end up with the aquatic tribe who couldn't even use it?
Natural treasures choose their masters by fate. The stone monkey had the fate, so he became the owner of the Sea Stabilizing Needle, the golden cudgel. Has your aquatic tribe ever been able to wield the water-stabilizing seal?
Meredith was instantly speechless, unable to come up with a rebuttal.
But ever since I was born, the water-stabilizing seal has been.
Your scaly tribe is naturally weak, so you settled around the water-stabilizing seal for protection. What right do you have to claim this treasure as yours? Even the one who retrieved the water-stabilizing seal was me, not Ethan. If your tribe wants to settle scores, it should be with me, not anyone else.
Her face turned pale, and she instinctively looked at Ethan for help. But sadly, Ethan only felt a sense of duty towards her, and his verbal defense was the greatest concession he could make. I had known him for 1,000 years and understood his nature too well.
I said I would make it up to you, but you insisted on this marriage. I told you from the beginning that I wouldn't have feelings for you. You should take care of yourself.
Ethan's words echoed what I had silently recited. Meredith couldn't bear the blow and collapsed to the ground. I didn't even bother to lower my head, just glanced at her. The person who once sat on the ground in despair was me. The crowd erupted in an instant. Even Ethan looked at me in confusion.
What's going on, Luna? This isn't like you.
After a moment, he sighed.
If you want to express your anger, fine. Just not today.
The warrior god's hall is my father's legacy. Letting you stay there feels so wrong.
The Saintess should know that the warrior god's hall naturally belongs to the warrior god.
You know how this marriage came about, don't you?
But today is my wedding day. How can you drive me out?
Ethan and I have no sworn bond, no kinship, and even less with you. Leave with some dignity.
I formed a hand sign, wearing a silver robe with gold edges, the color my father wore most in his lifetime.
In this life, I must take control of my destiny.
My father's uncle and the elders of the Serpent clan, seeing my determination, had no choice but to respectfully ask Ethan to leave the warrior god's hall.
Luna, if you ever face difficulties, you can come to me.
His affectionate tone, like our 1,000-year companionship, made the fish spirit beside him cry, turning her joyous day into a tearful one.
We have no ties, and men and women should keep their distance. Now that you have a wife, you shouldn't be close to me.
He was stunned, then smiled.
As you wish.
His turning motion seemed to carry some anger. When I woke up again, everything was pitch black, and I could barely make out that I was in a desolate cave.
You're awake. Whose child are you? How could you be so careless, going out without your protective scale and getting ambushed by a mere fish spirit?
Protective scale. I had given mine to Ethan 200 years ago.
Judging by your weak body, you must have been seriously injured and soaked in weak water for a long time. Your spiritual root is ruined.
Ruined? Impossible!
I tried to circulate my spiritual energy, but unlike before when it was merely obstructed by the clash of water and fire, now I couldn't move it at all. My water spiritual root had lost its usual blue glow and turned dull. My spiritual root was truly ruined because of a mere fish spirit?
What a cosmic joke!
Overcome with rage, I ignored my weak body, drew the soft sword from my waist, and charged out of the cave. Before I reached the entrance, I felt dizzy and collapsed forward. Unexpectedly, I didn't hit the ground but fell into a gentle and familiar embrace.
You're just a child. Do you think you can seek revenge? Your skills are lacking. Don't throw your life away.
The young man's face was unfamiliar, but I felt an unexpected sense of closeness. He chanted a spell, and turtle shell-like patterns appeared on his body. A warm golden flow spread from his palm to my dantian, easing the excruciating pain there.
The world has changed. A small demon under the protection of the four symbols dares to ambush the bloodline of the black tortoise. I've been cultivating too long. The world has changed.
While he protected me and nurtured my body, I learned his name was Alexander. He was the last divine turtle in the world. He had lived perhaps even longer than my father, so calling me a child was not inappropriate. As a fellow black tortoise bloodline, he treated me exceptionally well, like a brother, a father, and a teacher. He helped me remove the ruined water spiritual root and taught me the fire spiritual root cultivation method.
Little girl, you are of the water element. If you cultivate fire, your meridians will suffer burns. Every time you circulate your spiritual energy, it will feel like your meridians are burning. Are you sure about this?
I've already been burned once in the soul refining cauldron, this won't be any different.
Seeing he couldn't dissuade me, Alexander reluctantly protected me and taught me the cultivation method. Cultivating the fire spiritual root was indeed painful. Every second felt like my meridians were being torn apart, as if an unquenchable fire was burning my internal organs. The pain was excruciating, but it was worth it.
Little girl, you don't need to be so strong.
I collapsed into his arms, drenched in cold sweat.
No, Alexander, I can't give up.
But you're a girl. You don't need to be so strong. I'm your elder, I'll protect you. I won't let anyone ambush you again.
Protect me? Someone once promised to protect me for a lifetime. But he broke his promise. I will no longer believe in such empty vows, I only believe in myself.
As the pain subsided, I gritted my teeth and resumed my cultivation. Seeing me in such pain, Alexander revealed his true form, using the water clouds around his divine turtle body to ease my suffering. Amidst the mist, a faint fragrance wafted into my senses, and the fire within me burned even hotter, changing its nature.
Something's wrong! The timing isn't right, and I can't stay in the same room with you.
My body was burning hot, while he was as cool as ice. Almost uncontrollably, I lunged at him, my snake tail entwining around him.
So hot.
The more he struggled, the tighter I held him. If he used his divine power to break free, my meridians would shatter. After a long struggle, he finally resigned himself to his fate. Before everything faded, I only remembered pressing against his cool body.
Fate has it that the serpent and the divine turtle will become one. I won't fail you, trust me.
Not fail me? Perhaps. Tentatively, I intertwined my fingers with his, filling the room with an intimate atmosphere.
2.
Are you going to let her hurt me?
I clutched my chest, swallowing the blood that welled up in my throat.
Do you remember the vow you made before my father left?
His body trembled. He looked at me, then at Avery, who was trembling and crying.
Luna, don't worry. With my divine power, I can protect your heart.
Protect my heart? Laughs.
With my heart damaged, how could I continue to cultivate? How could I protect the Tang Snake clan? How could I inherit the title of warrior god? Swallowing the blood in my throat, I cut my arm and transformed the blood into a sword.
Enough talk! Fight!
Ethan sighed, protecting Avery while engaging in combat with me. Already injured, I was no match for him. Not only was his cultivation deeper, but he also wore my protective scale, making it impossible for me to harm him. Avery, whom he protected, struck at a critical moment, piercing my chest with a sword. Blood splattered. Enduring the pain, I slashed down, severing her arm. Avery screamed, clutching her shoulder and crying.
Avery!
Ethan, holding Avery, instinctively struck at me. With a clang, the divine turtle's pattern shielded me, blocking his attack. Alexander held me, looking at him in disbelief.
As a dragon, a fellow spirit beast, how could you harm her?
And who are you? Do you know she harmed my wife and hurt her kin?
Though I had resolved not to love him anymore, hearing him acknowledge Avery as his wife still pained my heart. Alexander lifted me, whispering for me to endure the pain. With a squelch, he pulled the sword from my chest, staining my golden robe with blood, red like a wedding dress.
You only know she acted against your wife's kin. Do you know your wife's kin attacked her, damaging her core and pushing her into the weak water, ruining her exceptional water spirit root?
What?
Hearing the words weak water, Ethan put Avery down and rushed at me like a madman, trying to snatch me from Alexander. He was a dragon, a demigod, but Alexander was also a divine turtle, with demigod strength. Lying in Alexander's arms, memories of my millennia with Ethan flashed through my mind. When father went to war, I was alone in the warrior god's palace, with only Ethan by my side. I feared tribulation lightning, and he, despite being injured, accompanied me through it. When the palace was invaded by demonic spies, he protected me with nearly broken meridians. On my coming of age, he clumsily carved a misshapen wooden hairpin for me. The scene froze on the moment in my past life when he pushed me into the blazing sun array.
Alexander, it hurts. Take me away.
Ethan's body trembled. He lowered his hand, looking at me lying in Alexander's arms.
Luna, who is he?
Years of pent-up resentment seemed to burst forth in that moment.
Alexander is the master of the warrior god's palace.
His pupils contracted. He rushed to grab my sleeve. Enduring the pain, I pulled my sleeve away.
My husband.
His hand stopped in midair, watching me drift away. A whisper seemed to float by.
But you promised me a lifetime together.
Liar.
4.
The wedding banquet between Alexander and me was grand. The elders and my father's old comrades invited all the demon clans to vent their anger.
The only ones excluded were the scaled aquatic clan, Avery's kin.
Everyone present silently agreed to avoid the clan that had wronged the Saintess of the Serpent.
I couldn't stop the elders, but I felt it was unnecessary. So, I invited the warrior god and his wife.
Luna, the Saintess, congratulations on your marriage.
Thank you, Avery.
I turned away, not wanting any entanglements with my past life. Avery looked at me with envy and jealousy, her polite smile barely holding. Her gaze wasn't one of admiration but of comparison. Comparing Ethan, who was supposed to be her husband, but kept looking at me.
As Alexander and I received blessings from heaven and toasted our guests, the sky changed color. A seal suddenly broke open.
It's the seal of the ancient outer demon.
The ancient outer demon has been released.
Avery, flustered, dropped the dagger in her hand.
I didn't mean to release the outer demon.
Everyone present was furious, even Alexander, usually so gentle, wanted to draw his sword against her.
Are you crazy? Do you know how terrifying the ancient outer demon is? If it were an ordinary demon, at least it would have some intelligence. The ancient outer demon will indiscriminately destroy everything.
I didn't know. I just heard in the water realm that there was a demon sealed in the warrior god's hall. I just wanted to ruin this wedding. She killed my kin and ruined my wedding. I just wanted revenge. What did I do wrong?
All the celestial and demon beings present found her unreasonable.
The priority now is to deal with the demon, not to fight among ourselves.
If it weren't for Luna speaking for you, I'd want to use you as a sacrifice.
Avery, feeling wronged, could only find a safe corner to crouch in, watching the celestial and demon beings fight the outer demon. I had switched to practicing fire magic, and the divine fire I cultivated was not crimson but a blue, Een-based heavenly fire, perfect for restraining the outer demon. Alexander also protected me, temporarily manifesting the Xuanwu form with me. Xuanwu was defensive, while Ethan used a secret technique to manifest the Azure Dragon form, which was offensive. Together, they formed a balanced attack and defense. Just as Alexander and I were fully defending, a blade light slashed towards Ethan from behind. Our formation could defend against the outer demon but forgot about a small overlooked demon here. Avery, as if possessed, her eyes vacant, held a dagger overflowing with demonic energy, aiming straight at Ethan. Thud. The dagger pierced flesh. I stood in front of Ethan, my meridians invaded by demonic energy.
Saintess, I was bewitched. I didn't want to hurt you. I'll give you my inner core to heal you. Quickly, sit and heal.
Luna!
Ethan pushed Avery away, turning back to help me up.
Continue, kill the outer demon.
How did you get hurt? Your protective scale.
He couldn't finish his sentence. The protective mirror on his chest, glowing with divine light, was made from my protective scale.
Ethan, if you still consider yourself the warrior god, you should let go of personal feelings and focus on killing the outer demon.
His eyes trembled, but in the brief moment of distraction, the demonic energy surged again. Even Ethan couldn't hold it off. If the outer demon broke free, everything would be devoured. I closed my eyes, enduring the pain, standing in front of everyone.
All celestials, heed my command, form the immortal execution array.
Luna! The immortal execution array requires a sacrifice, you.
I, Luna of the Serpent clan, now inherit my father Gideon's wish, willing to sacrifice myself to the heavens, kill the outer demon, and restore peace to the world.
At this moment, the outer demon had pushed the celestials to the brink, leaving the immortal execution array as the only option. The elders wept, watching me step into the array's core.
Luna, we've been together for 1,000 years, you can't leave me. You can't leave me alone. I'll go with you. When we first met, we made a pact to live together and die together.
Ethan, madly trying to rush into the array, was stopped by my elders. I glanced back at him, feeling an unprecedented sense of liberation, as if the chains on my heart were being shattered bit by bit.
Ethan, I once admired you. But now, I just want to be myself. I am the daughter of the warrior god, and I must fulfill the warrior god's duty. You have the power of the warrior god but lack the heart to protect. I despise you. You are not worthy to be in the array with me. As the daughter of the former warrior god, I punish you. I punish you to guard the celestial realm forever, to repel demons, and never indulge in personal feelings again.
With that, I activated the array. 1,000 arrows pierced my heart. Only by sacrificing myself, enduring the ultimate pain, could the array be activated to kill the outer demon. The pain was identical to the soul-refining cauldron from before. It hurt so much. I closed my eyes, feeling warmth in my hand. Alexander held me, enduring the 1,000 arrows with me.
Luna, I'm with you.
She protected me, turning into golden light with me, striking the outer demon's vital point. The world shook, purifying the filth.
Luna!
For the first time, Ethan's eyes showed such helplessness. I smiled at him.
Goodbye, Ethan.
In a silent tremor, the world changed color and then returned to normal. Above the heavenly gate, only the intertwined remains of a snake and a turtle were left.
Palogi.
Above the 33 heavens, the warrior god's hall became a silent taboo among the celestials. There was a silver-armored warrior god with a head full of white hair. It was said that the warrior god had lost his love 100 years ago. I heard from some celestial maidens that the warrior god had a snake scale on his chest, his lifelong love. Above the heavenly gate, his figure was towering, his eyes hollow and desolate.
How pitiful.
Yes, truly pitiful. Alexander and I intertwined our fingers. This calamity helped us ascend to godhood. The past was like yesterday's death, the future like today's birth. From now on, I had no ties with Ethan. My new life was just beginning.